Good morning. Welcome. Buenos días, bienvenidos. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson on Sunday, April 13th. On the Jewish calendar, Passover began at sunset last night, and on the Christian calendar, today is Palm Sunday. My name is Bob Gordon, and I'm the worship associate this morning. Just some housekeeping first. Be sure to have your cell phone turned off, or on mute at least, silent. There are 2 gender-specific restrooms in the lobby of this building. Behind the AV desk, there is a gender-neutral bathroom, which is also wheelchair accessible. And in Goddard, our social hall across the patio, there are 2 more gender-neutral bathrooms, one of which is wheelchair accessible. On behalf of the congregation, I want to issue you a warm welcome, especially to all visitors and people watching us online, on live stream. We're trying to make this church community a safe place, a sanctuary for everyone. So in that spirit, please join me in this welcoming litany by responding to each prompt with the words, "We welcome you." Whatever your physical or intellectual ability, we welcome you. However you identify your race or ethnicity, your gender, or your sexuality, we welcome you. Whatever your immigration status, we welcome you. And whether you're a Unitarian Universalist lifetime, or whether this is your first time in a UU church, welcome you. If you are a visitor, especially a first-time visitor, and you're willing and able, please raise your hand so that we can welcome you. Have any first-time visitors? Yay. Let's remember today those desert people who first came to this place and whose land was stolen in successive acts of genocide and displacement. We honor the O'odham, the Yaqui, the Apache. We also remember the Hohokam and the other indigenous peoples whose names are no longer known to us. Now I invite you to pair up with someone nearby, maybe someone you didn't come with, if possible. Take turns giving each person, sounds really lively today, isn't it? Take turns giving each person time to speak and time to listen, and respond to this prompt. What would the world look like if everyone were free?
It's a big enough question. The conversations can continue at social hour or when you get coffee with your new friend later this week. You laugh. Maybe some of you will get coffee now later this week if you enjoyed each other enough. Our words for Call to Worship are a story. This is taken from the Velveteen, Good morning. My name is Reverend Bethany Russell Lowe, and I have the great pleasure and honor of serving as lead minister of this congregation alongside my colleague, Reverend Jamili Omar. And our words for call to worship this morning come from the Velveteen Rabbis Haggadah, which is a book of readings and songs. Haggadah, in general, is a book of readings and songs used by Jews during Passover Seders. And this is the Velveteen Rabbis. She has a big blog, popular writer. This is her Haggadah. Once upon a time, the Jewish people went into exile in the land of Egypt. During a famine, Jacob and his family fled to Egypt, where the food was plentiful. Jacob's son Joseph had risen to high position in Pharaoh's court, and the Jewish people were well respected, well regarded, secure in the power structure of the time. Generations passed, and the Jewish people remained in Egypt. In time, a new Pharaoh ascended to the throne. He found difference threatening and ordered the Jewish people enslaved. In fear of rebellion, Pharaoh decreed that all Hebrew boy children be killed. 2 midwives named Shifra and Puah defied his orders, claiming that the Hebrew women are so hardy they give birth before we arrive. Through their courage, a boy survived. Midrash tells us he was radiant with light. Fearing for his safety, his family placed him in a basket and he floated down the Nile. He was found and adopted by Pharaoh's daughter, who named him Moshe. She hired his mother, Yocheved, as his wet nurse. Thus he survived into adulthood and was raised the Prince of Egypt. Although a child of privilege, as he grew up, he became aware of the slaves who were working in brickyards of his father. When he saw an overseer mistreat a slave, he struck the overseer and killed him. Fearing retribution, he set out across the Sinai alone. God spoke to him from a burning bush, which, though it flamed, was not consumed. The voice called to him out of the bush to lead the Hebrew people to freedom. Moses argued with God, pleading inadequacy, but God disagreed. Sometimes our responsibilities choose us. Moses returned to Egypt and went to Pharaoh to argue the injustices of slavery. He gave Pharaoh a mandate which resounds through history: let my people go. Pharaoh refused, and Moses warned him that a mighty God would strike the Egyptian people. The threats were not idle. 10 terrible plagues were unleashed upon the Egyptians. Only when his nation lay in ruins did Pharaoh agree to the liberation of the Jewish people. Fearing that Pharaoh would change his mind, the Israelites fled, not waiting for their bread dough to rise. They did not leave Egypt alone. A mixed multitude went with them. From this, we learn that liberation is not for us alone, but for all the nations of the earth. Pharaoh's army followed the Israelites to the Sea of Reeds. The Israelites plunged into the waters. Only when they had gone as far as they could did the waters part for them. We mourn even now that Pharaoh's army drowned. The Israelites' liberation is bittersweet because people died in their pursuit. To this day, Jewish people relive their liberation through Passover Seders, that they may not become complacent, that they may always rejoice in their freedom. And we this morning join in hearing this story, considering this age-old tale, and what it is asking of us this year. Come, let us worship together.
The words for chalice lighting today are by Adrian Rich from a piece called For Memory. Freedom It isn't once to walk out under the Milky Way, feeling the rivers of light, the fields of dark. Freedom is daily, prose-bound, routine remembering, putting together inch by inch the starry worlds from all the lost collections. If you're joining us on YouTube, we invite you to light a chalice or candle now as we light our chalice here in Holland.
Though the words we are about to sing were written in 1990 to tell the story in Exodus, the biblical times story, I'm somehow comforted that it is still appropriate to sing out against arrogant pharaohs. Please rise as you are able. The words will be on the screen. This is the gray hymnal. And AV, I'm on mic too, confusingly. Bring out the festal bread and sing songs of freedom. Sing with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. What wooden pharaohs live in arrogance crowned, who shall be sent to challenge fully unbounded. And sing songs of freedom. Shout with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. Chains still there are to break, their days are not finished. Metal or subtle made, they still not diminished. Bring out the festal bread and sing songs of freedom. Shout with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. Still does resentment bind each brother and sister. Still do the plagues affect us red as the river. Bring out the festal bread and sing songs of freedom. Shout with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. Long be our journeying, yet justice is worth it. Dance, Sister Miriam, and help us to birth it. Bring out the festal bread and sing songs of freedom. Shout with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. O people, lift your head and look to the mountains. Bushes of flame still call us, rocks still gush fountains. Bring out the festal bread and sing songs of freedom. Shout with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. Thank you. Please be seated.
This is the time in our service when we lift up the joys and sorrows of our congregation. The bowl we use each week holds the big rocks, which symbolize our collective mournings and celebrations, and also the smaller ones that you will add to signify your individual joys or sorrows. Like the bowl, this community is strong enough to hold all of these. Let's remember first those who are walking through our desert now without adequate water. We pour water from a plastic jug, like those used by the various humanitarian groups bringing water to people in the southern Arizona desert. If you have a joy or sorrow to share, I invite you to go to menti.com and put in the code 6160-2980. You may include your name if you wish. If any of you here in the sanctuary wish to put something up on Menti and need help, Brian can help you. If you're here in person, I invite you to come up to the table and create ripples of hope by putting a stone into the bowl to symbolize your joy or sorrow. You may come from both sides or both lines at once. And if standing for a long time is challenging, please feel free to come directly to the front.
read our Menti responses. Looks like we just have one this morning. Grateful that my uncle is home after several surgeries to address a brain bleed. Prayers for continued healing for your uncle friend. And as always, beyond grateful for this community, an anchor of hope and light in the storm and dark of today's world. Amen. Thank you for being that light, that hope, friends. And I'll use the privilege of the microphone to add my own joy this week. The sadness is that I let you all know a few weeks ago this will be my final church year at the UU Church of Tucson. But I did learn this week and finalized a contract. I will be the ministerial candidate at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo, New York. So, thank you, friends. That congregation just heard the news this morning. I'll be headed to Buffalo when the snow is done later this month, and I will have my candidating week there. Just a little bit of context for our words of prayer contemplation this morning. This is an imagination of a song by Miriam, who's Moses' sister. And she's at that moment when they've gotten out of the sea. Maybe they're at the edge of the Sea of Reeds, and she's imagining this journey into the desert ahead. So please join me in a spirit of prayer, meditation, contemplation, whatever that looks like, feels like in your own body, in your own mind, as I read these words of centering from Rabbi Ruth H. Sohn. I, Miriam, stand at the sea and turn to face the desert, stretching endless and still. My eyes are dazzled, the sky brilliant, blue, sunburnt sands unyieldingly white. My hands turn to dove wings, my arms reach for the sky, and I want to sing the song rising inside me. My mouth open, I stop. Where are the words? Where the melody? In moment of panic, my eyes cannot see. Can I take a step without knowing a destination? Will I falter? Will I fall? Will the ground sink away from under me, the song still unformed? How can I sing? To take the first step, to sing a new song is to close one's eyes and dive into unknown waters. For a moment, knowing nothing, risking all. But then to discover the waters are friendly, the ground is firm, and the song rises again. Out of my mouth come words lifting the wind, and I hear for the first the song that has been in my heart, silent, unknown, even to me.
This next song was written as a eulogy for the author. Reverend Mary Gregolia wrote the song, I Know This Rose Will Open. Will you please join in singing it in unison, and we'll sing it several times through. Let it sink in. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. Last time. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I
The reading this morning is entitled Passover by the Reverend Kathleen McTeague in Shine and Shadows. When the escape from Egypt was certain, when the last furious wave had closed over their enemy's head, and the dangerous waters lay smooth again, when the Israelites could finally turn toward the future without fear that the past would snatch them back, what did they see before them? Not the promised land flowing with milk and honey, but the wide and terrifying wilderness that would claim them for 40 long and terrifying years of wandering. They were not carried along on a surge of vindicated faith, but stumbled forward with debilitating doubts. And instead of enjoying sweet unity after all they'd been through, they were torn by bickering and division. They walked into relentless uncertainty and discomfort and fell asleep on the hard ground, to wake feeling ashamed for dreaming of the easier life of slavery they had left behind. Our own stories may never be quite so dramatic, yet each of us knows a little about what it means to be lost in the wilderness. We know about the awful disappointment akin to despair of being suddenly pathless and alone, when we'd expected to strive confidently straight into the promised land. We know how it feels to take a leap of faith toward some place we want to be, in love or relationship, work, school, or location, only to find that nothing turns out the way we hoped and expected. The familiar has been left behind, but what we yearn for has not yet come into view. And there we are, lost in the desert. We have no way to know how long our wandering will last. These passages through the land of in-between are scary and uncomfortable. And the desert is a place we would rather barrel through as quickly as possible, toward the welcoming ground of our destination. But our time in the desert is a passage of the heart, not a physical journey of the body. And it's not in our power to speed it up.
I'm hearing so many echoes of today in the story this morning. Are you too? The grappling. As I was thinking about this story, reviewing the text, picking readings, a question started bubbling up in me. Where does liberation start? With the birth of a Jewish baby against tyrannical orders? Or is it when the baby is placed in this basket made of reeds floating down the Nile? Or is it when the baby is raised by the kingly family? Or does it begin with that recognition of injustice, maybe coming out of someone's DNA, or the burning bush, or the plagues? Or maybe it's that moment of freedom from slavery, or at the parting of the Red Sea, or at the closing of the waters. Or maybe liberation begins when that first foot hits what Reverend Kathleen McTeague calls the wide and terrifying wilderness, which we desert people understand to mean the wide and terrifyingly beautiful wilderness of the desert. In the story of the Israelites' escape from Egypt, where does liberation start? And what does that say about where the liberation of today's people, of us, began, or will begin? We are in a societal moment when liberation feels so out of reach that one might be tempted to just not discuss it at all. Can we have a more reasonable discussion? Can't we be more practical with each other? And also, can't I just crawl into a cave and escape it all, please? But the Passover story, which Jews return to year after year in seders and religious observances, is a reminder that each year we must turn our attention towards liberation, towards the path to freedom, to those small and big movements that lead to liberation for all. Passover is this yearly reminder that no matter what hardships are being experienced, no matter what enslavement is being imposed upon a people, the work of liberation begins today and tomorrow and yesterday. Unitarian minister Reverend Theodore Parker describes this long arc of the moral universe, right? You've heard it before. This long arc of the moral universe that he believes bends towards justice. These days, I'm finding it hard to remember that arc. It's easy to forget that it's there, bending still, that it has already been bent before any of us were even alive. Laws have been passed, minds have been changed, hearts have been transformed. We are not as we once were. And still, here we are in the middle of the arc, jumping up and down with all our might, trying to put more weight on the arc and keep it from catapulting us backwards. The work of keeping that arc bending is tiring, more tiring than before, maybe. But what if this moment is not a backwards turning, not a catapulting, but actually part of the journey towards liberation? What if what's happening now is not a failure of effort or a result of things not done or everything coming undone? What if these are our desert times? Our times for wandering, encountering, learning, seeking more justice. When the promise of a new land, a new world, is something in the future, and every day in the desert we orient our days towards wandering in search of that new world, that new justice. The story of the Israelites reminds us that desert times are not what we expect, and yet they are an essential part of the path towards liberation. In our wanderings today, we hear the echoes of civil rights leaders, some still here, who are singing in our ears, "We shall overcome one day, someday." And also we hear this confession from Reverend Dr. King that one of the greatest stumbling blocks to freedom is, in his words, the white moderate who is more devoted to order than to justice. Ooh, that echo. In our meandering in the desert, we hear the echoes of direct action against SB 1070. Some of you were there, and the many farm workers' strikes. No human being is illegal, and when citizenship status does not impact their human rights. In our resting moments in the desert, we hear the echoes of LGBTQIA+ justice. Act up, fight back, fight AIDS, and also, in the words of contemporary non-binary poet Alok, who calls their transness a living love poem. As we wander in the desert, moving along the path towards liberation, we are far from alone. Our ancestors are with us. Our elders still living are by us. Our children are running among us. And I believe we are equipped with all we have been, all we are, and all we are becoming. I only had Bob read you part of Kathleen McTeague's reading this morning. The second part, she describes camping out in the Southwest as a young adult and what that taught her about the desert. I didn't read that to you because you know a thing or two about the desert, probably more than Reverend Kathleen McTeague. You know how to notice the flowers, the green, the plants that hold on to their existence against all predictions and odds and droughts. You know how to look for signs of life, for signs of beauty in our desert. You know that even an ecosystem where everything is built for personal protection, there's a beautiful cooperation between the Palo Verdes and the young saguaros, between the wildflowers and the birds, between the cacti and the foraging animals. You desert people actually know how to navigate desert times. You look for life, you look for beauty, you notice the struggle for existence, resilience. You see the connections, you see the protectors, you see the wandering path to liberation, and we honor it all as sacred. Some of you know that I recently signed up for one of my favorite poets' Poem a Day email list. I've been reading her poems in various places. This one came to my inbox last weekend with the email subject line, "After the Rally." This is called "This is the Revolution" by Rosemary Watola Tromer. After the political rally, standing on the corner was the man in the pink flamingo onesie and the handlebar mustache, playing ukulele, singing, "This land was made for you and me." Surrounded by folks still carrying their signs for peace, diversity, and equality. And though no one was listening, though there were no news trucks, no microphones, no megaphones, and no way any politician would hear their voice or see their signs, they were there, singing and showing up despite. And this was the moment that made me believe in the path, not just the grand marches towards freedom, but also the thin trails marked by courage and creativity, small moments I can follow like breadcrumbs till this country again feels like home. The path to liberation is a long one, 40 years by some accounts, and a moral arc that stretches across the whole universe in another's imagination. Many, if not all of us, will never reach the promised land, if one should ever come to exist here on earth. But that doesn't mean we stop trying. We keep wearing the pink flamingo onesie for joy. We keep playing music for transcendence. We keep marching and picketing for collective power. We keep putting our weight on that arc for justice. We keep loving our neighbor to grow more love in the world. Rabbi Tarfon, who lived and wrote just after the fall of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, the 1st century in the Gregorian calendar, spent some of his work writing commentary in the margins of the Torah, literally in the margins. And this collection of marginal writings is called the Talmud. And in one of those margins, commenting on Micah 6:8, he wrote this: "Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now. Love mercy now. Walk humbly now. You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. So do not be daunted by the enormity of it all, friends. Just do justly now. Love mercy now. Walk humbly now. You are not obligated to complete the work of liberation, but neither can anyone truly be free if we all abandon the work before us today. May we stay engaged, stay attentive, wander through the deserts of our days with love, hope, and justice in our hearts and minds. Amen.
Love is at the center of our UU values. It holds us together as we constantly align our actions and our values, one of which is generosity. One way we live into that generosity is by sharing our resources, our time, our talents, and our treasure with this church community. For those of you here in person, the ushers will circulate baskets for your donations. If you're watching online, you can mail a check to the church office, or you can make a donation at uuctucson.org/donate. Many of us support the church with regular automatic pledge payments.
Trust the seeds, although they lie in darkness, stirring beyond your watchful eye, though they may not flower, 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 as you dream they would when the planting's over. You must trust the seeds. Some soon bloom to fill your heart with wonder. Some only after you are gone. You must give them freedom, 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 freedom to give as they should. Give them room to spread their roots and trust the seeds. In your heart, you know that some may wither. All you can do is hope and pray. Some will rise up grander, 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 grander than you dreamed they could. There is joy in planting if you trust the seeds.
Good morning. My name is Janet Moore, and I am on your Board of Trustees. I am the VP of Finance. I want to invite everyone to social hour after the service in Goddard Hall, which is out the double doors behind you and to your left. There will be coffee, iced tea, lemonade, snacks, and good company. Social hour food and refreshments are free for all, but donations, of course, are appreciated to cover our costs. If you are new and want to stay in touch with us, you can fill out a guest information card in the Welcome Center in Goddard Hall. You can also find a virtual guest information card in the newcomer section of our website. And there is an urgent announcement from the Social Justice Council. Please join us today for the meeting scheduled at 12:30 here in Holland to sign a petition to add immigration lawyers to the Pima County Public Defender's Office and to respond to help legal asylum seekers in Tucson whose asylum status has been revoked by the White House and made them subject to immediate deportation. Yes, urgent indeed, friends. Contact Leela Pine at sabinosanctuary@gmail.com for more information, or come to the meeting, best of all. And an announcement about the stewardship campaign. The stewardship team would like to thank everyone who submitted their pledges for our 25-26 campaign. As the campaign ends, they are happy to report that we have exceeded pledges for our current fiscal year by 4%. And we still expect some pledges to come in the next few weeks. As of this past week, we have collected $253,000 in pledges. And that's from 108 pledge units. And that's despite currently having 13 less pledge units than last year. Our average pledge increased by over 10% in this campaign. Yay. And all those who have already pledged, or those who submit a pledge card today, are welcome to enjoy some cake at social hour to celebrate our collective support for UUCT. As noted on the slides, there's a board meeting today at 12:30 in Servetus. We will be discussing the ministerial transition process. You're welcome to attend. And of course, if you missed that, board minutes are always available on the website. And I will be in Goddard after the service if you have questions or thoughts to relay to the board.
Because our kids aren't here yet, I'm going to take a minute just to announce, if you're considering signing the membership book, I'll be in the Welcome Center immediately after service and can help you do that.
Okay. The gratitude song. We are grateful for community, for how they share and how we show our love and care. With thinking minds and helping hands, we'll build a place where love and hope expand.
And in place, our kids are going to come in whenever they get here. And in place of a story this week, we have a treat. Some members of your Healthy Congregations team have a skit for you. Enjoy.
We like to call it a story. A story. Yes, I know. Okay. So today, we are the Healthy Congregations team. And in case you didn't know who we were, it's me, Maura, Preston. I'm Jody Bergedick, if you didn't know me. Preston McMillan, and is Beth here? I do not see her. And that would be, she's in the Welcome Center. That's Beth Britton. So today we're going to tell a story about a little girl and cocoa hugs and coffee mugs. And here is that lovely coffee mug. Ooh. You know, but wait. I'm getting ahead of myself. I have to pay for this, right?
Yes, you do.
Oh, man.
Its price has gone up significantly.
Really? How much is it?
But it is still worth buying. Well, it's 75 cents, a true bargain.
For that cup, 75 cents?
Yep.
All right, do I have to pay cash?
Yes, you do. We only take cash.
Really? All right, well, here it is.
All right, and here is your lovely mug.
Thank you.
And
Beautiful. What's it?
change.
Oh, change, thanks. And so here's what happens, and you know what? I'm tired of this. I think, you know what we're going to do? We're going to change. So, what do I have in my hand?
Change.
Okay, let's think about change. What are some of the ways that you use change? You might save it. You might what? Spend it. You might, my nephew, when he sees it in the parking lot, he runs after it. You could run after change. You can learn from change. If you look at quarters, there's all kinds of really interesting people on there. What else could you do with change?
Water it?
Yes, you could gamble it. You could gamble away your change. You could donate your change. You could take your change and make it into something beautiful. What else? Yes, you could use your change to clean things. Ah, pretty good. What else? One more. You could keep your change. Do you want to keep it in your pocket and hide it? Some people, believe it or not, run away from change. Or they'll see it and they'll walk around it. Or some people, believe it or not, think that it is just a waste. And it should be abolished, and no one should ever have to deal with change again. That would be an interesting world.
So as you can see, we each may carry change differently.
And I lost my place in the script, so there you go.
Here.
And I did lose my place. So basically, you've heard us say different ways that you can use change. And I think the metaphor, obviously, here is today that we're all holding change. And the idea from the Healthy Congregations team is to just remember to talk about your change. Let's talk about how we hold it. Let's talk about what we want to do with it. And let's just be working together. And let's take this time to really think about what we're going to do with our change. And it's not up to one of us. It's up to all of us. So let us try and come together and talk. And if you need an ear to listen, we're here. So just the end.
The end. And you can reach the Healthy Congregations team at hct@uuctucson.org. You can find a link to us on the website. And if you have questions about how we might help, you can come and talk with us at the after the service. Thank you. Thank you.
And if you're lucky, you can use this mug.
Would you stand and join in this last song, a song from the gospel blues tradition that have been sung in black gospel churches for 150 years or so. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be a justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound.
The words for chalice extinguishing are from Deborah Hafner. It's called "It Is Our Journey Together." We're on a journey. We didn't plan it. We didn't have time for the bread to rise. We may find ourselves in the wilderness, hungry, thirsty, doubting that we should ever have come. But look around. We are not alone. It is our journey together, a journey to our better selves, a journey to a better world, a journey to a more promised land.